teaching to us and the rest of the world that the black man is the standard for deterioration. And black people need an extra dose of racial pride to restore our humanity. And every time I start telling black people about their history, someone tells me, stop! Don't do that! That's racism! It's not racism when they teach me about Churchill. It's not racism when they tell me about Charles I and Queen Elizabeth. That's fine. No one mentions the word. Only when I talk about my heritage of a people that have been walked on for 300 years. They have been told if you're white, you're all right. If you're brown, stick around. But if you're black, stay back. How can a person worship Allah properly when they're filled with physical self-hatred based upon the teaching that they could never decide anything worthwhile? That's what they see on television all day long. That's what they find in the schools. That's what they hear among themselves. Even some are told in the mosque. What did the Prophet say? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Before he died, he said we must always remember the Copts. That's those Africans down there in Sudan and Nubia and Upper Egypt and Ethiopia. Why, his companions wanted to know. He said, because I have their blood in me. When they told him about Antar, one of the most powerful Arabs that ever lived, a man of African descent, he said, if Antar had lived just a little longer to see my day, I would have appointed him over all Islam for his qualities. Omar, the second caliph of African descent, according to El-Jahiz, the book that he wrote in 800 AD, entitled The Glories of the Black Race. The grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad, was of African descent. All of his uncles were of African descent. And the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was of African descent. That's what El-Jahiz said in 800 AD. And if it had not been the consensus of opinion, they would have killed him quicker than people are trying to kill Salman Rushdie. El-Jahiz could not have written that. He was born in Basra. He lived in Basra in Iraq. He could not have written that and lived if the people knew and did not believe it to be true. 800 AD. The man wrote 200 books. A black man of African descent. He described the contribution that black people made all over the world. Why don't we know it? We need a mass education, not confined to history, but we need to know computers and science. And we need to know history as well in order to have a support for motivation. Who is likely to do that the most effectively? The Muslims or the Christians? Examine for yourself. In the United States today, do you know that Muslims of African descent are starting to get some of the highest state grades in the nation? They're not just saying Allahu Akbar. They're not just praying 5 times a day. They say after you get through praying 5 times a day and after you give recognition to Allah, if you're in school and you're a student, we should be at the top of the class to show our appreciation for the mind that Allah gave us. Last night in Petersburg, I was talking about the students being at the top of the class, and you could see it in their face. They want to do it. They want the challenge. They are ready, and they are able. If the third world is going to develop, it's only through education. We are taught in the Quran to search the whole universe for knowledge. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the Battle of Badr, told the people who were captured as prisoners, For every 10 Muslims that you teach how to read and write, I will free you. That's the stress that the Muslim has on education. We don't have to make up anything. It's part of our religion. This day art thine enemies in despair of thy religion. So fear them not, fear me. This day have I perfected for you your religion. And I have completed my favor unto thee. And I have chosen for you as your religion, Islam. The educational blueprint is there. What did Jesus say about education? What did Jesus say about science? What did Jesus say about searching the universe for knowledge? I'm asking you to be objective. I'm asking you simply to reveal to me those things that are written. Before you make up your mind, look at the problems of the world and ask yourself which religion is best suited and grounded to solve these problems. Socially, the families are disintegrating. Children are having babies. AIDS, rampant. Drugs, rampant. Crime, rampant. Unemployment, rampant. Who is best suited to solve these problems? Christianity, do you think Christianity will help you? The Queen is a Christian. Go and tell her you're unemployed. Say from Christian to Christian, we like to have some Christian charity. They don't even want you. You accuse me of bringing up the past. You accuse me of saying, well, there was a time when Europe enslaved us, but brother, forget that. Things have changed now. Why don't they want you today? Ask them that. Right now, if they had their choice, they would kick all of you out of here. They don't want you. You hear me? They don't like you. They don't want you. They may feel guilty, but they still don't want you. They don't mind the Poles coming. They don't mind the Czechoslovakians coming. Enoch Powell never talked about them. The National Front didn't talk about them. They didn't start shooting Scandinavians, didn't start shooting Eastern Europeans in the street. They don't want you. Why? Some of you were misled. You thought the only ones they didn't like were the Africans. You thought the only ones they didn't like had hair like me, and nose like me, and lips like me, and skin like me. But now you know. You are not wanted either. Smile all you want. Be as polite as you want. Be as courteous as you want. They don't want you. The sooner you realize the facts of life, the easier it is for us to look practically on how to survive and cooperate and move ahead. You started getting quiet on me. Who's in the best position to open up employment opportunities? The Quran teaches us business. We should be going into business, not just in England, all over the world. There are 1,200,000,000 Muslims in the world. We should be doing business with the Muslims in China, the Muslims in Russia, and even the non-Muslims if they will, but we have fallen down. But at least we can go back to that part of the Quran that says business is legitimate for you. Tell me where in the New Testament it mentions anything about business. If you're trying to decide on a career, where can you turn in the New Testament to help you make that